and welcome back. So today I'm talking about the most relatable thing so far, I think, on this channel, which is applying for jobs. So you may be like 10 years old and you've never had to apply for a job, or you may be like 30 and you've applied for like 500 jobs and you know like the ins and outs. But even if you're really young, this is still semi-useful information, I suppose, and I hope it's entertaining in some way. It's not like some advice video or something, it's just a general chat, as always, about me and things and applying for jobs. Because basically what I've noticed throughout my time applying for jobs, whether it's been recently or the past year or a couple of years ago, is you always need experience. Okay, not always, most of the time though, you need experience. And how do you get experience? By getting a job. But you can't get a job because you don't have the experience. And now I see this as, I can't remember if I've seen this somewhere and now I'm just claiming that I've made this up myself. But personally, I call this like a vicious cycle because, you know, you've got to get the experience to get the job. But to get the experience, you need the job. And it's just this constant cycle which you can't really ever get into because you can't get the experience because you can't get the job because you don't have the experience. And obviously grades and stuff are great. GCSEs, A-levels or whatever it is in other countries, you know, those are brilliant and stuff, but they're not experience, they're just grades. They're just numbers actually, or no, not numbers, letters. Although I think they do numbers now actually, I can't remember, but you know, they're just a thing where you sat an exam and you got a grade and that was it. But I personally don't see like exams as important in that sense because there's this really good image actually online somewhere. It's about like asking various different animals to climb a tree, and it's sort of related to an exam because, you know, not all these animals can climb a tree. Like there's a fish in a fish bowl. A fish can't climb a tree. So asking a fish to climb a tree is stupid. And you know, the exam is just one general thing for everyone. It's not specific to that person. And obviously everyone's skills and knowledge and everything is totally different. So personally I think exams are pointless, but there we are. That's a story for another time. But applying for jobs, you need experience. It's a vicious cycle because, as I say, to get experience, you need the job. To get the job, you need experience. And there are some where it's like, no experience required, and you're like, oh, I'm going to click on this, I'm going to apply. And then you click on it, you apply, and then you need like all these different grades and this experience when it's like, you've just said no experience required, but you need experience. It's like, why are you lying to me? It's so annoying. And also references. They ask for references sometimes, and if you've got no references, you're basically doomed. Like, I've never really had a proper job in that sense. Like I've had like a couple of self-employed things and I've worked at McDonald's before, but I kind of just stopped turning up because the management there, and I'm not trying to name and shame people here, but the management was absolutely appalling, and unfortunately I was on a 0-hour contract and stuff, so it didn't really work out, and I don't really have the name of the person. I worked at a safari park once for like a month, which was seasonal work. I don't have the name of a person for a reference from there either. So I don't really have references other than like going all the way back to school where it's like an assistant head teacher who I don't even know works there anymore. So when I'm asked to give a reference, I put it and I've no idea if she even works there anymore. And like family, friends and stuff. But when you're doing these job applications and you're putting all your job history, I suspect it looks really bad that I'm not putting employer references. But honestly, I don't have any. It's just this whole vicious cycle, as I keep saying, and it's so hard to get into. So basically, I mean, you can start out by getting a paper round. I mean, that's experience, but it's not experience in certain things, such as sales. And this is where it gets even worse, is that you need the experience in specific things. So if you're applying for a sales job, you need sales experience. And then it gets even worse because I have seen jobs where, okay, you need experience and that's all fine and dandy. You're like, oh, sales job, I've got sales experience. I worked as, I don't know, some sales job for a couple of months. Oh, you need 1 year sale experience. It's like, you can't win. You cannot win. So personally, sometimes I just apply for them even though I know I'm not going to get it, just because I'm like, well, I've got nothing to lose here. Like, if I apply for it and I don't get it, it's no different to what happened, you know, before applying for it. But if I apply for it and get an interview, then I'll be like, don't actually have much experience, but I'm willing to learn. And that's, I guess, the key thing is if you're willing to learn things, that's more important, in my opinion. I understand experience is important, but I think people should just be, or employers should be willing to train people, you know, spend a bit of money on it, because you can't just expect everyone to have experience. Like, somewhere along the line, someone has to give you a chance and train you. And I know there are apprenticeships and things like that, and that's great, but you get all into this nitty-gritty stuff, and you can't get the experience without getting the job. And again, to get the job, you need the experience. It is just this vicious cycle. It's like doing a roly-poly, which I attempted earlier to put in this video, but my body will not actually let me do it. Like, it's the weirdest example, but obviously a roly-poly is just going around in circles, and I sort of felt that was in some way relevant, but I physically can't do it. I don't know why. Like, years ago I could do that, but now my body is just like, nope, you're not doing a roly-poly, not But yeah, jobs. I mean, I'm not like, you know, bashing employers and stuff. Like, I don't want to hinder any chances I've got of ever getting a job again, but there are, and it's not all jobs. Some jobs you genuinely don't need any experience, but you know, the majority of jobs you find, you will need experience, and then it'll be a specific time period of experience, like a year or 2 years or 3 years. I think I've seen somewhere it's 5 years experience. It's like, that's insane. If you have a job for 5 years, the chances are you're probably not going to be just wanting to leave it, so you're probably not going to be applying for another job, which means no one really is ever going to apply with that amount of I can't talk, that amount of experience. But hey, I mean, let me know what your dream job is, which is in some way relevant. Like, if you could have any job in the world, and I mean, I'm now thinking a load of people are just going to say, like, I don't know, the co-founder of Microsoft or something, but any job in the world, like, I don't know, perhaps you want to be a policeman or a doctor or a YouTuber, which I guess is a job nowadays. Like, people probably consider that a job. Anything, let me know in the comments below, and if there's one I really like, I'll show it in next week's video, which is something I really want to start doing, is like picking out the best comment from the previous video and showing it in the next one, you know, to get you guys more engaged and stuff. So let me know in the comments below, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time.